It is that time of year again to do another top 50 coasters list. I now sit at 505 credits, picking up 49 new ones in 2021, and 5 of those made my top 50. My only park outside the United States is Canada's Wonderland, and here are notable US parks that I have not visited. This list is just simply my personal opinion based on my preferences and experiences. And since I'm someone who likes everything, other than Firebird, I love everything on this list, so even if you want some entries to be higher, just the fact that they made my list will say a lot. But I also place high emphasis on the experience that a ride has given me, so factors that will be unique to my experience can give a ride a big boost. Rides that have short lines and being able to pick my own row will always be a huge plus in my book. I do love Airtime, but I like everything that coasters can do, and I'm finding that I love it when rides have rapid-fire elements and variety. B&Ms aren't really my thing, so all of the huge B&M fans may not like my list. However, they actually make up literally half of numbers 51 through 100. I may not rank them as high as everyone else does, but I still like them. I love statistics, so here are how many coasters from each manufacturer make my list. The parentheses are because clones will only take up one spot on my list. Less than 11% of B&Ms make my top 50, but 32 of the 65 made my top 100. In my state breakdown, you can see that Pennsylvania has now taken the top spot, and the best 5 states for coasters are my top 5. 10 of my top 50 are wooden, right in line with my overall percentage, and in my breakdown by chain, Six Flags has widened its lead. But let's get started with number 50, which is Viper at Six Flags Magic Mountain, the Aero Mega Looper. On my recent visit, I came to love this ride more than ever, and it has replaced Full Throttle as my third favorite in the park. It's one of the most intense coasters there is, with incredible speed and very forceful loops, which have given me my only lifetime blackout. My head is always spinning when we reach the mid-course, and the second half brings the hang time in the inversions. 49 is Copperhead Strike, the mock multi-launch at Carowinds, a new credit for the year. The launches may be weak, but the inversions provide excellent hang time, plus it gives great airtime and rapid transitions. This probably deserves to be much higher on my list. 48 is Batwing, the Vekoma Flyer at Six Flags America, another new credit for the year. For ride experience alone, this is my favorite flyer of all. It is glossy smooth and very intense the entire ride, and the ride-ops made it such a fun experience, and they did a great job to keep the line moving. 47 is the RMC Raptor clones, Railblazer at California's Great America, and Wonder Woman at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. The seats and shoulder straps are awkward, but I'm getting better with them, much better than Jersey Devils. These may be short rides, but they have great pacing and very strong airtime and intensity. 46 is Vortex, the defunct aero looper that used to be at Kings Island. Riding in the back gave great airtime on the drop, then the inversions were either intense or gave hang time. Years later, I still remember having such a great time marathoning this before it closed down, and it would seem that my favorite 2 rides from Kings Island are both defunct. 45 is Fahrenheit at Hershey Park, a very unique Intamin with the vertical lift hill and beyond vertical drop. It's a smooth ride, has a couple amazing airtime moments, and 6 great inversions. 44 is Gold Striker, the GCI Woody at California's Great America. It may be a bit rough, but I think that actually makes it better. It has an excellent layout with great airtime, laterals, and rapid-fire elements. 43 is Phoenix at Knoebels, the relocated wooden coaster. It is a very smooth ride and has excellent airtime that is made even crazier because it has buzz bars and no seatbelt. With only 2 rides on a very crowded day, I couldn't put it any higher, but there's room for it to move up if I can get a better experience. 42 is Twisted Cyclone, the RMC hybrid at Six Flags Over Georgia. It's a very short ride, but it has a few excellent airtime moments and some good inversions. This is the first of many RMC hybrids to come on this list. 41 is Joker at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, the RMC hybrid. I feel this is very underrated, as it does provide great airtime, excellent inversions, interesting elements, and it's a long ride. 40 is Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast, the premier launch coaster at both Six Flags Over Texas and St. Louis. This is a very intense ride with a great backwards launch and inverted top hat, which provides such a unique mix of forces. and a large vertical spike, giving a great weightless feeling, and then you do it all forwards. 39 is Poltergeist at Six Flags Fiesta Texas, another underrated premier launch coaster. And the new theming they put in last year has added a lot. The launch is great, there's no mid-course, and you're able to see all the endless head choppers throughout the ride. It slows down a little in the middle, but it picks up the pace again, building to a great finish. The fun factor for this one is off the charts. 38 is Time Traveler at Silver Dollar City, the mock multi-launch spinning coaster. It starts off with a vertical drop out of the station, then you have several inversions and unique elements that will ride different every time because of the spinning. It's not too intense, so it has a lot of universal appeal. 37 is Montu, the B&M invert at Busch Gardens, Tampa. It is smooth for a B&M, and it's very intense with 7 inversions diving into and out of trenches. The Batwing especially is extremely intense. And we're staying at the same park for number 36, which is Kumba, the B&M sit-down coaster. This is one of the most intense B&Ms ever made, as it just tears through the course, also featuring 7 inversions. There can sometimes be a couple rough spots on it, but I love these old-school intense B&Ms. 35 is Manta, the B&M Flyer at SeaWorld Orlando. This has great theming in the queue, an intense pretzel loop, and the ride is sprawled out over the midways, over water, and flying by waterfalls. It has its graceful moments as well, but it's the whole package that makes this my favorite flyer, and it's a long-time sentimental favorite of mine. 34 is Lightning Run at Kentucky Kingdom, the Chance Hyper GTX. Despite the smaller stature, it is very powerful. The airtime is strong and has those rapid-fire elements that I love. I hope to see more of these in the future. With no inversions and not being super tall or fast, it has great universal appeal. 33 is New Texas Giant, the RMC hybrid at Six Flags Over Texas. The original RMC could have been better if it were done later, but who cares about that? It still stands up as an amazing ride. No inversions, but it has several moments of floater and strong ejector airtime, and it's a very long ride. 32 is Storm Runner, the Intamin Accelerator at Hershey Park, a new credit from last year. After the powerful launch and airtime-filled top hat, it then takes you through a few unique inversions, providing some hang time. I went through a lot to finally get on this, and it was well worth the wait. 31 is Mako, the B&M Hyper at SeaWorld Orlando. One of the smoothest B&Ms there is. It's their only Hyper on this list. It has maybe the most airtime moments of any B&M in terms of duration and quality. It has some of the purest floater on any coaster, especially on that amazing 5-second sustained Camelback Hill. 30 is Top Thrill Dragster, the Intamin Strata coaster at Cedar Point. The launch is incredible, reaching an astounding 120 miles an hour, and the 420-foot top hat provides one of the best views on any coaster. Last summer was my first time to experience the extreme frustration of the constant breakdowns that many others have experienced. And the poor operating procedures also contributed to its big tumble down my rankings. 29 is indeed King Ka, the better Intamin Strata coaster at Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey. Riding both of these within a few days, I can confidently say that King Ka's launch is far more powerful. The ride experience is even more surreal, reaching 128 miles an hour and climbing to 456 feet. It's the tallest coaster in the world. The lateral airtime on the drop is insane, and the big hill does provide good floater airtime. The restraints don't bother me at all, and it's been more reliable for me, and it's only slightly more shaky. 28 is Gatekeeper, the B&M wing coaster at Cedar Point. I refuse to back down from my love for wing coasters. I love the sensation of having no track above or below you. This is the smoothest B&M in my experience. It has some intense moments, plus excellent inversions, especially with those keyholes, and I love the beachside setting. Number 27 is Thunderbird at Holiday World, another B&M wing coaster, but this one starts with a powerful launch and also features a great near miss with one of its inversions. It's just as graceful as Gatekeeper, but it's more intense, which is why I give it the edge. 26 is Goliath, the RMC Woody at Six Flags Great America. It is a shorter ride, but it has a great drop, a few moments of ejector airtime, and 2 of the best inversions in the world. There's nothing like the upside-down floater in that 0G stall. 25 is Fury 325, the B&M Giga at Carowinds, and my favorite B&M. This maintains incredible speed throughout the first half, then the second half provides a few moments of very good floater airtime. For anyone who likes B&M more than me, which is just about everyone, you will rank this higher. I did get some smooth rides on this last year, and my ranking is based on those rides. Number 24 is the Superman Ride of Steel clones at both Six Flags America and Darien Lake. These are Intamin hypers with a strange layout, and I thought a lot about these last two picks after riding them within a few days. Superman isn't nearly as fast, but it has more airtime moments than Fury, and much stronger airtime, especially on that hill between the two helixes. Even the straight track serves to highlight the sense of speed. I also like that this goes off into the woods instead of alongside a parking lot, and it's consistently smooth with restraints and trains that I prefer. I know that my Intamin fanboy is showing with this pick. 23 is Prowler, the GCI Woody at Worlds of Fun. I genuinely think that this has the best and strongest airtime of any GCI, and that triple down in the second half is excellent. It uses the terrain and goes off into the woods, cutting through the trees, creating for a spectacular night ride. It's an out and back layout, but also has plenty of twisting and rapid fire elements that feels so relentless and out of control. I do overrank it because of my long history with it being a former number one, but I still think it's easily the best GCI. 22 is Boardwalk Bullet, the Gravity Group Woody at the Kemah Boardwalk in Texas. A new credit from this last year. This is a long ride fitting into such a tiny plot of land right up against the water. It is such an interesting and unique layout, utilizing its own structure better than any other coaster, while still providing excellent floater and ejector airtime throughout. And Kemah Boardwalk does a great job maintaining this, keeping it running smooth. 21 is Hades 360, another Gravity Group Woody, this one at Mount Olympus in Wisconsin. They do not keep this one running smooth. If it weren't so rough, it would be my favorite Woody. It has the best pre-lift section in the world, providing great airtime. The drop dives into the longest underground tunnel in the world. It comes out the far end of the parking lot, through an inversion, and back through the tunnel again. It has great airtime and is very intense. 20 is Monster, the Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster at Adventureland in Iowa. That beyond vertical drop gives insane ejector airtime. The inversions provide top-notch hang time, and even some non-inverting elements give amazing hang time. All this is experienced with just a lap bar and no seatbelt. And it's perfectly smooth, it's a long ride, and has a great light package at night. If anything, I think I'm underrating this ride. Number 19 is Phantom's Revenge, the Morgan Hypercoaster at Kennywood. This provides a great view across the river before the second drop plunges you 228 feet down into the river valley. The speed is incredible, and the ending series of bunny hills give amazing ejector airtime, made even better by the minimal restraints. And despite the incredible speed, this is one of the smoothest coasters out there. 18 is Ravine Flyer 2, the Gravity Group Woody at Waldameer. The view from the top of the lift hill may be my favorite of all time, looking out to Lake Erie. It dives down the ravine multiple times throughout the ride and crosses over a road while giving excellent airtime throughout. Like the previous Gravity Group coasters, it loses some steam towards the end, but everything up to that point is amazing, and I had the best time at this park. Number 17 is Millennium Force, the iconic Intamin Giga Coaster at Cedar Point. It was back to filling the entire train last year, so it was back to full strength. It has a great setting next to the water and an amazing first drop. That first turn can make me slightly gray out, and I don't gray out that much. The airtime might not be the strongest, but it's still very good, and it's incredible how this ride is able to maintain its speed all the way to the final brakes. And this is one of the few coasters at this park where you are allowed to pick your own row. Number 16 is Lightning Rod, the RMC Hybrid at Dollywood. This ranking is not based on my 2019 rides, which would have it much higher. This ranking is based on my November 2021 rides. It no longer had any ejector airtime, but the quad down provided some excellent floater, maybe mild ejector, on all my rides. The night rides aren't as dark as before, but they're still great, especially during Christmas as the lights of the park come into view on the quad down. That mountainside setting really helps to hold this up in my rankings. 15 is El Toro, the Intamin wooden coaster at Six Flags Great Adventure. It runs out of steam at the end, and it has a couple rough spots, but during its great moments, it is very smooth. The drop, the following two camelbacks, and the rolling Thunder Hill later in the ride provide some of the strongest sustained ejector airtime you will ever experience. I was sad to not be able to get back on this on my 2021 visit, but hopefully I'll be back on it soon, and it could then move even higher up my list. 14 is Twisted Colossus, the RMC hybrid at Six Flags Magic Mountain. It is a better ride on those rare occasions that it duels, but even when it doesn't, it is still a great ride with strong ejector airtime, twisted airtime, and inversions, and you get to ride both sides without having to get off. And we get to pick our own rows, which is always a big plus in my book. Number 13 is Outlaw Run, the RMC Woody at Silver Dollar City. This has the best wooden layout, and I think it's the most complete wooden coaster in the country, maybe the world. It has ejector, floater, sideways airtime, inversions, hang time, plus it goes out into the woods, making for perhaps my favorite night ride of all. Number 12 is Skyrush, the Intamin Hyper at Hershey Park. After getting more rides on this last year, I found myself not bothered by the restraints or the rattle anymore. That allowed me to fully appreciate what this ride does. I think it's the most intense coaster I've ever ridden. It feels like it's trying to kill you. The airtime is some of the strongest that you'll find anywhere. The stangle dives are violent, and the turns pile on the positive G's. Go for the back for the most intense ride, but fair warning, this is far too much for many people. Number 11 is Maverick, the Intamin Blitz coaster at Cedar Point. This has such a brilliant layout with a mix of ejector airtime, inversions, an intense mid-course launch, great speed, twisted airtime, and the rapid-fire transitions that I love. I don't even mind the restraints at all anymore. Number 10 is The Voyage, the Gravity Group Woody at Holiday World. It was riding a bit rough earlier in 2021, but on my visit later in the summer, it was very smooth and crazy fast on those night rides. That proves that you don't need Hollywood Nights to experience Voyage in its top form. It's just luck of the draw, and I got lucky there. The first half has the big airtime hills, the second half is the spaghetti bowl section deep into the woods on top of the hill, and the third half is the return trip with more airtime hills than you can count, as it seems to just keep getting faster and more wild. It is a terrain coaster, and it's one of the longest rides in the world from the drop to the end without any break in the middle. Number 9 is Intimidator 305, the Intamin Giga Coaster at King's Dominion. This is an extremely intense ride with a first turn that makes most people gray out at least a little, even me. Plus, this actually has the most airtime of any Giga Coaster in North America, which most people don't even realize because of the incredible intensity. It carries so much speed throughout, has those rapid-fire transitions that I love, whipping you through several turns in such an aggressive manner. It may be too intense for some people, but I totally love it. Number 8 is Wicked Cyclone, the RMC hybrid at Six Flags New England. This is a very long ride, and the layout features so much variety, including a turn after the drop that made me gray out. It has so much ejector, floater, and off-axis airtime, as well as hang time in the inversions. Some people don't like how it slows down towards the end, but I don't mind it because it still provides great airtime on those final few hills. Number 7 is Superman the Ride, the Intamin Hyper at Six Flags New England. One of the best and most complete layouts in the world that doesn't feature an inversion. It has a beautiful setting along the Connecticut River, great ejector and floater airtime throughout, and the brilliant spaghetti bowl section towards the end that has a mix of forceful helixes, a tunnel, and surprising airtime moments. It is very smooth, and I'm not bothered by the restraints in the slightest. Now, my top 6 are my absolute top tier. I have changed the order of these many times, and any one of these has the potential to be my overall number 1, but I think I've settled on this order for now. Number 6 is Storm Chaser, the RMC hybrid at Kentucky Kingdom. It may not be super tall or fast or a long ride, but it is one of the most powerful coasters I have ever ridden. It has some of the sharpest and strongest ejector and off-axis airtime of any coaster I've ridden. It is so aggressive, and I love the quirky layout and interesting and unique elements. Plus, I love the atmosphere that Kentucky Kingdom provides throughout the park. Number 5 is X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain, the Aero 4D wing coaster with controlled flipping. That first drop is so crazy, taking face first with a flip at the bottom. The airtime is unlike any other airtime, and the elements will have you switching between facing forward, backwards, on your belly, on your back, on the right or left side of the track. There is nothing else like it on this side of the planet. I may have slightly desensitized myself to its craziness by riding it so much. It may not be in my top spot right now, but it could find its way back there. Number 4 is Velocicoaster, the Intamin launch coaster at Universal's Islands of Adventure in Orlando. This new for 2021 coaster lived up to the hype. The theming in the queue and during the first half of the ride is top-notch. As great as the first half is, the second half is even better. It has such great variety and might be the most complete coaster in the world. The first half is a blitz of smaller, rapid-fire elements with airtime and inversions, and the second half is where you get the larger elements, ending with that amazing Mosasaurus roll over the water, providing upside-down ejector airtime, maybe my favorite element on any coaster. All this is done with a lap bar and no seatbelt, and it is a smooth ride. The line moves fast, keeping the weight manageable. It pretty much is the perfect roller coaster. There are just a few that I personally like just a little bit more. Number 3 is Iron Rattler, the RMC hybrid at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. This ride is the one that took my enjoyment of coasters to the next level. I wouldn't be where I am without this ride, so it's a huge sentimental favorite, which is why I slightly overrank it. It has my favorite first drop on any coaster with the twisted ejector airtime. It dives off the quarry wall several times and goes through it. The 0G roll is amazing, and even the slower section on top of the wall is great, offering strong ejector airtime and sideways hang time. These are also my favorite trains and restraints, and you are allowed to pick your own row here. My spring break marathons and over 70 rides last year helped to give this a boost. Number 2 is Steel Vengeance, the RMC hybrid at Cedar Point, featuring the most airtime of any coaster in the world. It has ejector, floater, and off-axis airtime, 4 inversions, and it's a very long ride with plenty of time spent within its own structure. Even though this draws terribly long lines, I always feel that it's worth it to get another ride. And you can often meet some great people and share coaster stories while in line, which helps to add to the experience. And my new number 1 coaster is a huge jump from last year's rankings. It is Twisted Timbers, the RMC hybrid at King's Dominion. As great as this was for me in 2018, last year's rides were on a whole different level. I have never been so shocked after getting back on a coaster that I've ridden before. This has the strongest airtime of any coaster I have ridden. It is so violent, so aggressive, so relentless. Your lap may be bruised with just one ride. This may be too much for some people. It was almost too much for me, but I love the challenge to see how many rides I could handle. There are 20 airtime moments. Most of them are extremely strong ejector, some off-axis airtime, a trick track double up, and 3 floater inversions for some variety, including that unique barrel roll drop. It is a long ride with no mid-course brake run. It's an endurance test in the best way possible. All my visits have come on weekdays, which means that this has never had much of a line, allowing me to ride it as much as I want. And you are allowed to pick your own row. The more I thought about it after this trip, the more I couldn't deny that this is my favorite coaster I have ever ridden. And it is at my favorite Cedar Fair park. But as I said, this is all subject to change given future experiences. Here is one more chart to break down the 31 parks that are represented in this list. So that's my list of my personal favorite 50 coasters, and I'd love to hear what you think about it in the comments, and let me know what your favorites are, as it's always interesting to hear varying opinions. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.